I think over time too, I give people different looks at different aspects of who I am as a man through my music and how I see the world. So I pull from, um, you know, different parts of my struggle into manhood, my fatherhood, um, me as a teacher, me as a philosopher, me as a social worker, um, me as a lover, you know. I pull from every aspect of my life and my thoughts, my desires, and I put them together like clay and like art and give them to y'all.
Welcome, everybody, to Enswei73 TV. It is me, Uncle E. Thank you for taking the time to join us. Take 1 second and do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, share this with everybody you know, and leave me a comment. And like I always say, whether it's good or bad, I appreciate you taking the time to do so. Also, if you could do another favor and head on over to Enswei73 TV on YouTube, check out the latest episode with Manny Styles. Some say he's your favorite producer that you don't know of. King of Strings, Manny Styles, dope hip hop producer. Go check that interview out. It's right now on Enswei73 TV. Joining me today, man, I have the pleasure of having somebody that I kind of met at one event. We have some mutual connections. And then the coolest thing for me was I ended up going to one of our brother's services out in Long Beach. And then this gentleman gets on the mic and starts talking and saying a few words about him. I'm talking about X-Ray, the mind bender. And at first, I'm not even noticing and paying attention to notice that this is the same guy that I met not that long ago until he says his name. And then I looked and I was like, oh, wow, this guy came all the way out here to show respect. And that meant a lot for me. So I just want to say thank you, while I have you on here. But I have none other than O7 joining me tonight, man. How are you doing? How's everything, sir?
Peace. Doing great. It's great to be here with you. Honored to share this moment with you. Thank you for having me.
No doubt, man. Like I said, thank you for everything, man. I appreciate it. And yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about, your past, bring it up to date to what you have going on now in 2026. But if you could do me a favor, you have a project that you put out a little while back. It's like a series, right? The Voila.
Okay.
On the first one, you have a song, Mindset. Before we get started, can you do me a favor and break down that song Mindset and tell everybody a little bit about what's the concept behind that particular song?
Okay, so Mindset is like is the second song that I wrote after taking a little break from creating. I wrote that around the pandemic, or when the pandemic hit, and that kind of changed things for a lot of people, myself included. One of my brothers, the God Key Islam Allah, who's currently out in Kenya right now, he sent me the music, and it was just one of those things that you hear the sounds and the words appear. It was something that was born out of being still enough to take a overall look at myself and my life, certain things that kind of paved the way for me to be where I'm at, and take a look at the particular place where I was from. And so the song is pretty much about that.
So with that in mind, you pretty much grew up in Queens, correct?
Yeah, Corona, Queens in particular.
Corona, Queens. And your background, your family's from Haiti or for Haiti descent?
Most of my family is from Haiti, and different parts of the Caribbean.
Okay. So talk to me a little bit about growing up in Queens. I just want to get, because like I said, I listened to that song and it's sort of took me, it sort of painted a picture more or less of I was getting a feeling of like things that you might have gone through in life uh, that kind of molded and shaped you into who you are, or at least at the time of when you made that song. So if you could tell me a little bit about growing up in Queens and how that was for you.
Sure, sure. I spent a considerable amount of my life in Queens, in Corona, Queens. Um, I lived on 99th and 34th, between 98th Street and 99th Street. Um, Across the street from PS 92. DJ Polo from Coogee Rap and Polo used to live like 2 blocks down. Um,
I was gonna say home of Cool G Rap, man.
yeah. I got a chance to meet the brother Coogee Rap at All the Right Records when he used to be at on Junction Boulevard. It was a barbershop and a record
Nice.
store. Yeah, and G Rap was just a real good brother, real cool. He inspired my journey as a creator. But growing up in Corona, Queens,
Nice.
yeah, growing up in Corona, Queens, was impactful, especially in the time and the era that I was growing up out there. I grew up in Corona, Queens in the 80s, and so you had a lot of things going on politically. You had a lot of things going on socially. The crack epidemic was in full swing, the war on drugs and the war on crime and such. Um, you know, the environment, the environment was such that you got a chance to tap into all parts of the world growing up there, because Queens, Jackson Heights and Corona, Queens are like the most diverse neighborhoods in the world. So, you get a chance to tap into a lot of different flavors and ideas and things. You know what I mean? Um, it was a little chop shop around the corner from where I stayed at. So, in the song I referenced a couple things where you said, you know, um, at that time, people breaking in the cars all the time. Still radio, still hubcaps, all kind of things. You see a car on cinder blocks. Um, and, even though I lived across the street from the elementary school that I went to as a child growing up, just to give you a picture of things, like my mom's ain't want us going across the street alone. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Mm.
because how dangerous the neighborhood was. Um, I
Right.
loved growing up there. It was a lot of good there too. You know. Um, but again, it was like a mixture of people. My neighbors, my neighbors were from different parts of the Caribbean and Central America and South America. And so you grow up learning a lot about different parts of the world. Um, Hip hop was everything. Hip hop was everything. I could still remember seeing like um, certain folks, like what I'm saying, like breakdancing on cardboard and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Right.
graffiti being, like the city being covered in graffiti. You know what I'm saying? That was a particular and a special moment in time when it came to hip hop and also the diversity there.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So now you mentioned meeting Cool G Rap, and you're talking about the graffiti and all of that stuff that was around you and that you saw. Uh, do you remember exactly what was it that grabbed your attention when it comes to hip hop? That something went off and you were like, you know what, I want to be. I don't want to just watch and see what's going on or hear what's going on. I want to actually be a part of this. Was there any one particular moment that struck, or was it just sort of gradual?
That's a great question. I always loved music and grew up. listening to different music in particular, mostly music from Haiti and classical music and jazz because my uncles were heavy into jazz. When it came to hip
Okay.
hop, I think my cousins and my classmates, the neighborhood, um, certain things that we all grew up listening to. But when I really decided to become a part of hip hop and to start creating, was when I was in school and certain folks are like, at lunchtime would be like folks beating on the table and spitting, and then outside on the corner, what I mean, it'd be like little ciphers and people
Right.
people spitting, and so I just knew I could do a little better than some what I was hearing. You know what I mean? I think that was the spark. That was the real spark where I was like, a little bit of competitiveness, um, and the love for it that made me start creating.
So no, I was gonna say, so was did you know right away that you wanted to be an MC, or was there anything else like that struck, like maybe you wanted to be a DJ? Were you into the graph, or did you know right off the bat that MCing is what you wanted to do?
My first real passion, before before becoming an MC was art. I'm still a big art lover today. I used to draw and paint a lot, and I had a real
Oh,
passion. I
word.
had a real passion for that. Some of the artwork that you've seen on some of my work in the past, um,
Yeah.
some of the work that you've seen in the past has been like my own work or of artists that I know. So the cover of Voila in particular, that was done by a really dope artist out of Staten Island by the name of Supreme Sniper. Peace to him. He surprised
Okay.
me one day and gave me a painting, and that was the painting. So I took that and
Mm,
I used it for my cover.
that was the
Um, but growing up, to answer your question and to get back to that, drawing was my thing. And then when I got um to hip hop, or when I got to really falling in love with hip hop and wanting to create, it became everything. You know.
Gotcha. Can you remember? Can you remember your first rhymes that you wrote down?
Yo, it's mad funny that you say that. I remember. I mean, I can't remember. I can't remember the whole rhyme, but I remember I had said some. I had said something to the effects of like having a brain like Professor X or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like along those kind of lines. Um,
Yeah.
I done
So
came a
wait,
long way.
so when? Yeah. So when was the first time though that you wrote a rhyme, or whether something that you wrote or a freestyle, but that you let people hear it, whether it was in school, like can you remember that moment
Yeah.
and what kind of reception did you get from?
I had let the first rounds that I let somebody hear, like the first two people to hear me rhyme, like something that I wrote with my brother Divine and my cousin B Son. Peace to them.
Okay,
We had like did a little competition between us to see like who could write the best rhyme, and I'm the only one out of the three of us that stuck with it, but they were the first ones to hear me. And at first, they ain't think the best of it, but I think they were impressed enough, and still are today.
okay.
They big supporters today.
Nice. So talk to me a little bit about at what point do you get to where you're saying to yourself that you want to do something with the music that you make, and actually whether it's try to put out an album, put out a single, try to shop a demo. At what point does this start to happen for you?
So I had a partner at one point in time. I I linked up with my man Foundation, God Foundation, who was like in the wind for years now. He had moved out to Pennsylvania, but this is like high school, around high school. It was me, my brother Born, and Foundation, and we had formed a group. It was called Ivy, and
Okay.
yeah, we used to take a broomstick and put it in the in the closet to keep it open and hang a microphone over it. Right? We had a little,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
we
yeah,
had
yeah.
like a little sampler. We had a little sampler to record a short amount of music. Foundation was ill with it. Um, and we had a real small setup to record, like the most basic setup. And that was like the spark of starting to record music. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I wanna say we was recording, yeah, we was recording on cassette tapes, and then eventually being able to get to a place where you could burn CDs. That came later on. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's how it started, and then eventually I ended up doing a solo thing, linking up with some other folks in my neighborhood in East Elmhurst, that were
Okay.
really qualified with production, and and started creating on a more serious level. Um, One of my people was out
So
here
when
creating with at the time, like started
so
shopping stuff.
you started shop. So now when you started shopping everything, are you doing this now as a solo artist?
Yeah, I was a solo artist.
Okay.
It was just me and my partner at the time, who was a producer
Okay.
out of East Elmhurst, um, and who's going to remain anonymous right now. But he was shopping. He was shopping on our behalf. He would handle like um some of those elements. I was more on the creative side and doing other things. Like,
Okay.
to kind of fund certain endeavors. So, um,
Mm-hmm.
he had took our single Breathe Deep, to Fat Beats. That was like the first place that, he started shopping our music to. But,
Right.
but things didn't work out, with that situation. Um, Over the course of time, I had created a album and changed with this brother. And it just so happened that in the space that we were creating and recording the music, it was some electrical work being done. It was like a short that happened and my whole album got erased. So yeah, that was like a real blow, and it made me have to recalibrate, and kind of start over. After a period of time, I ended up meeting another good brother who had featured on my album, and becoming a group with him, and took me to another section of this journey.
Another. Right. 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 So now this. So man. So you lose everything from that album. Now you start a kind of a group now with this other brother.
Yeah, my brother Sinajai, who's like one of the greatest
So it's
artists.
undeniable.
Yeah, yeah. So Sinajai, yeah,
Okay.
Sinajai, and myself formed the group
Okay.
Undeniable, and
Mm.
started making music together. I want to say, in like 2006, something like that. 2007, eight, something like that. Around that time.
Okay.
I was working with a lot of different people at the time, but um, my brother Reno RX, who I met through Sin, he gave us a couple of beats. Um, Sin and I had some great chemistry because he had been on my first album that had got erased, and
Okay.
and we started creating. We clicked, and just music started just flowing. We created several albums, put two of them out, and a whole bunch of mixtapes and features and stuff like that.
Okay. Now that you said you put out the two albums, was that independent?
Yes, all of it was independent. The two albums we put out,
Okay.
you can find they're on all streaming platforms. The first album is called Black Market Artists, and the name of the group is
Mm-hmm.
Undeniable. Heads up too for anybody that does look this up. There's some other artists out there that he's a young artist that decided to use the name Undeniable as well. And so when you look them up,
Yeah, I
when you
saw
look
that.
us up, it's crazy. Somehow it's gotten meshed. We haven't sorted that out, but you're gonna see some of his songs pop up in with some of our stuff, but you're gonna be able to tell the difference. The albums that we put out,
Okay. Yeah,
yeah, sound very different than what he's doing.
I saw that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's yeah,
but
yeah. So how so um now with with all the music that you guys put out, were you at any point? I mean, both of you, were you guys trying to shop a deal? Were you ever trying to get like a besides the Fat Beats situation? Were you ever trying to shop demos to try to get a deal on a major,
yo,
or did
actually,
you just always stay independent?
everything we did, we had made the decision to stay independent.
Okay,
Throughout the entire time that we were a group, we went the independent route. Um,
okay,
yeah, we had a pretty good following, and um we still have bodies of work that we never put out and we had planned to, but again, like the pandemic changed a couple of things
hmm
for us.
so you guys are still basically together as a group.
Yeah, Synergize my brother. He's my brother. I known him for more than
Hmm.
half of my life. Been through the fire with him.
Okay,
We're gonna be a group forever.
gotcha.
We're just taking care of things respectively.
Right.
That need to be prioritized.
Okay, okay. So basically, you still have the undeniable, but you also put out stuff as a solo artist, right? Now, you mentioned the stuff with undeniable was in the 2000s, right?
Yeah.
So coming up all that time, like you didn't you mentioned about the other group Ivy, you mentioned what happened with that project that got messed up in the with the electrical issues. Uh, all that time up until the 2000s, are you just going through the process of sharpening your skills? You had those couple of things that were kind of happening but didn't really take off, and then it brought you all the way up to the 2000s when you finally kind of got those projects out.
So you know, during this whole period of time, just like everybody, I'm going through life, and
Yeah.
dealing with uh, what comes with growing up in an environment
Mm-hmm.
and 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 being experimental with certain things. You know, I dealt with a lot, certain legal trouble during a period of time that had an effect on how I was creating and where I was at.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention, starting to have family. Um, I'm the kind of man that while we were recording music as Undeniable and as a solo artist, like especially as Undeniable, there's plenty of times like I'll be bringing my children to the studio after working, after having a, you know what I'm saying, travel and move all over. Um, so just life. I'm grateful for this music sincerely because along a journey, creating has been like a great deal of therapy. So I've been creating the whole way and definitely honing my skills. I think that depending on what your intention is in creating, the reason why you create affects how you develop as an artist. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I love this. I love music. I love this. This is something special that our people created that has forever changed the world and has brought people together like nothing else has. Right. I'm very respectful of it,
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time, I do know and understand that in me creating what I'm creating is special in the way that future generations of my family, my children's children, they may want to know who their great grandfather was, and they ain't got to just go off of like old pictures and stuff like how I had to, you know what I'm saying? And what people remember or forget, they got mad videos and mad audio where they could tap into
Yeah,
and be like, yo, I know exactly who he was. I see, you know what I'm saying? And that's a big deal.
yeah. I, I don't mean to cut you off, but I have to because exactly what you just said right now, I was literally just thinking about yesterday as far as what I do with the shows, right? I woke up and yeah, it was so random. I woke up and I started thinking about, I was going to do this with you today. And it made me think, I was like, man, what's crazy? My kids, for example, or whatever, they have all these videos and stuff that I've done that, like, God forbid, whenever that time comes and if I'm not around, like that they could go back and have like a visual, like you said, the audio, they could sort of, it's like something like you said, I didn't have a chance to have that, like, you know what I mean, with my grandparents or whatever. It's like just pictures, um, I think it's so cool and such a blessing to be able to have, like, even if it's just audio that you could put something on and hear that person's voice. The fact that kids or grandkids will be able to have something to just to look at and hear is amazing to me, you know.
It's
So
important.
I'm thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, man. Nah, thank you. Like for real, like what you're doing is super important, and you're honoring this culture. You honoring people by giving people light and exposing
Mm, thank you.
folks, yeah, to an audience and a group of people that may have never known of their existence. Everything that we sharing is actually helping us better know and understand ourselves in this existence. You know what I mean? So it's all meaningful.
Right, 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 right. When did you acquire knowledge of self?
This was 96, 97.
96, 97.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, uh, was that was there something that you were sort of looking for, like at that particular time? Were you sort of in a place where you were sort of, like looking for something? Did it just, or did that come to you?
So, um, yeah, as a child, I always wanted to understand and know, how the world worked, what this is all about. I was very fortunate to grow up in a way that I had the freedom to explore, right? And what I mean by that is, growing up, my mom, my mom was she was a revolutionary. She worked with the Panthers back in the days. She worked with one of the with Jean Bertrand Aristide, who was one of the revolutionary presidents of Haiti. But long story short, she allowed us at first to like we used to take my grandmother to church. My grandmother was Catholic, right? So we used to take her to church and go to church with her. But then we would go to a Baptist church with my mom's and a Protestant church. My mom's would allow us to go to um, Seventh-day Adventist church with our cousins and
Hmm.
Jehovah's Witness, and we got a chance to sample a couple of things. And she let us know, like, yo, listen, I didn't baptize you as a child. I didn't like you in the one thing because I got a lot of respect for y'all as my children, and I want y'all to get to a place where y'all can have understanding and be able to choose for yourselves what's the right road. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
so I'm forever grateful for that. And so, um, when you're young as a child, there's certain things that you're gonna ask that adults may not be comfortable with, right? And I'll give you an example since you asked that question, right? I was talking to my cousin about this other day, talking about us growing up. My grandmother used to take us to church, and his Blessed Sacrament Church was one of the churches we went to out in Queens, and St. Michael's is another one out in Medina, in Brooklyn, right? And we understand half of the stuff that they were saying because it was like the I guess the masses were in Latin and Spanish and certain, you know what I'm saying, and we didn't understand at the time.
Right.
So you know, there's a certain part though where there's communion and you
Mm-hmm.
gotta they gotta drink the wine and eat the body and all that, the crackers. All the children want to eat that because they hungry, right? So but when you hear it, we used to bug out as children and ask like, yo, why is this way? Why are you why people putting money in the statues and it says no idolatry? Why it doesn't make sense, right? And then it's like, yo, you saying you gotta drink the blood and eat this so you can live forever? That like sound
Yeah,
like some vampire shit, like so
yeah.
they was mad at us for shit like that, but you just want to understand and learn, right? And so
Right, right.
and so I went off on a path because after seeing for myself as a young child that certain things ain't add up with the stories that was being told and what I was learning when it came to religion. I came to a place where I was like, yo, look, if this God is somebody that gave us all of this, oh man, we going into something deep here. But I was like, yo,
It's okay.
if we have all of this, then how are we asking for shit? You know what I mean? So I would separate and stop praying with my mom and my brother and just be like, thank you. In my mind, it was, this is where my attitude, my mindset was. So I still had a religious aspect to myself at this time, but it was just rooted still in just being grateful and for what I had. Huh?
Right,
I
right.
can't. Along the way, one of my, growing up and being exposed to different people and places in the neighborhood. One of my peoples I had came across that unfortunately is no longer around. Um, had came to me and he had he had just learned supreme mathematics and had just came to me like with this. Have you ever heard that the black man is God? And so for me being a
Mm-hmm.
religious person, still I'm like, that's blasphemous. What you talking about? Crazy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And this other brother too, like he had came up to me, and he was his name was Justice. He was tiny, he was small, like 5 feet, with glasses, and his family's from Colombia, so he was very light skinned. He was particularly light
Mm-hmm.
skinned. He came to me like, yo, you ain't know the black man is God, so you know, it caused me to stop and take a look and go and do some research. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And to start to
Yeah,
take a
yeah,
look
yeah.
at things through a different lens that I hadn't done so before. You know what I mean? And to challenge some of what I had grew up thinking. And so being somebody that always loved history, I started looking at, okay, over here you got Shiva, over here you got Zeus, over here you got this. But when you look back, Buddha, when you look back at it, they all black. They all of them, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so there's a reason for this, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I also started to understand like why it would be important and useful to make people start to look outside of themselves for solutions instead of, instead of being the ones responsible for taking care
Right, right.
of things. And so, yeah, I started building with my brother Justice and got connected with a brother by the name of Universal BLA who was in the neighborhood teaching um, at the time, and I learned. I got knowledge of self, particularly from that source, from that room, and started to learn more about who we are as a people, and that the black man is God, and different aspects as to why and how.
Right, 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 right. Gotcha, gotcha. Thank you for sharing that. And then your name '07 comes from. It's a breakdown of your actual
Right.
name,
Right. So my name's Omnipotent
right?
Allah for those that do know me. And '07 is just a flip of that, you know what I mean? A seven representing God. So I decided to artistically um alter how it's spelled, how it was originally spelled. I had different ways I played with it over the years. But that's where it came from. Yeah.
Nice. So talk to me a little bit about. Uh, you just talked to me. You just mentioned about your journey as far as acquiring knowledge of self. You talked about a particular time where you were dealing with life, legals, and stuff like that. You went through everything, and you're here today. How does all of that experience between the knowledge of self, acquiring knowledge of self, things that you went through, coming up, and how does it play into the music that you create?
So essentially what I do with everything that I create is I pull from all aspects of me. Right. I think that at a particular point in my journey, I may have been more. I was more cruel with how I was creating or raw with what I was creating, but I think over time too, I give people different looks at different aspects of who I am as a man through my music and how I see the world. So I pull from, um, you know, different parts of my struggle into manhood, my fatherhood, um, me as a teacher, me as a philosopher, me as a social worker, um, me as a lover. You know, I pull from every aspect of my life and my thoughts, my desires, and I put them together like clay and like art and give them to y'all. That's really what I'm
Nice.
doing.
Do you feel, how can I word this? Does do you feel that hip hop still has a responsibility to educate in this day and age, or has it become purely entertainment?
So I was just having a very interesting discussion about that before doing this with you, right? Shout out to my brother Mike Hands at Adam Creates. Um,
Said Mike Haynes.
Mike Hands. Shout out to him. Yeah, he's
Yeah, gotta give him a shout out, man. Yeah, Mike Hand's name comes up. I couldn't tell you how many times I have somebody on as a guest, and one way or another, Mike Hands is somewhere in there. Shout out to him, man. He's
brother. You know, I'm
that goes to show you the work that he puts in, man.
listen. Look, first of all, just to rewind, thank you for the intro and again for the reception for having me. I'm grateful that we met in the way that we met because we met
Yeah, yeah,
because of
yeah.
some good people, and when you out here actually
Mm-hmm.
doing being honorable and doing the right things, when people speak of you, they're gonna speak of you in a positive light. So X-Ray's one of them. Hands is one of them. These are people that
Yeah,
that give, more than they take. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
yeah, we were literally just together and talking about this, because there's a space for everything, in this. It is a reflection of life. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
in the same way that you got the elephant, you got the ant, right? And they got their place in the ecosystem. And so, you know, is going to be music that is there just for you to forget about all of the drama and all of the stuff that you're dealing with and have a good time. And it's going to be music that's there to make you think. And you should be thinking and want to anyway. The world there's so much stuff going on in the world today, right? That is making people have to take a second look, at a lot of things that you might have thought was one way and it's really not. You know, I think that for people that have a voice and the ability to talk about certain things, then you should. I think that
Hmm.
not everybody is qualified to talk about particular topics and has the capacity to do
Right,
so. So you got to know, where you fit in, what your lane is, what you're able to do, and respect that.
right. On that same note, there's so much going on, like you said, these days, right? You have all the stuff with AI. And I don't mean just on the creative side with the AI, but there's all this other things that are going on with AI. I don't know if you just saw recently, they're talking about how, again, I'm not too, I just saw this video the other day, so I'm still doing research, but they're saying how there's certain things that are sort of creating and doing things on their own, that is not even necessarily somebody that's programming it, but it's starting to take that type of form, right? You got the war in Iran. Uh, there's just so much. Is there anything in particular that has your attention right now that you feel the importance to speak about, whether it's on music or just on, in general?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, is there's a lot. Um, it's so much
You got
happening
ICE and stuff
happening
going
at
on
one
with
time.
ICE.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because you just we just got word that ICE is now in the airports doing the work of TSA officials, right? Which is a real interesting thing. I just had to deal with the TSA headaches, and I had to remind myself to be patient and understand, like, yo, these are folks that already are dealing with a particular mindset because they're trained and programmed to look for and see people in a particular way, to look at people as threats and so on, right? And the volume of people that they deal with is a lot. And so after a while, that alone takes a toll, right?
Wears on you. Yeah.
Right. And so, and a lot of, especially since people are rushing and not in the best moods and all this other stuff, right? But then in addition to that, you're dealing with people that ain't got paid in a minute now too, because of all of the politics going on,
Right,
right? So, they much rather would be home and ain't got to do the work. So I just had to deal with that and check myself. But now I know that ICE agents there at those stations in particular, that makes things so much more confrontational to me. Right? I think it's going to make that experience so much more difficult, especially for folks that's not their role. That's not what they're supposed to be doing. I don't.
right.
I think that the work that they're doing, even though it's been sanctioned by the government, I think that the work that they're doing is horrendous work. And just to keep it super simple, you don't hear any complaints from the Czechoslovakian community or the Ukrainian community or the Russian community or any European communities that have tons of illegal immigrants that are here. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got to deal with ICE
Right,
agents.
right.
You know what I'm saying? ICE agents going out
Yeah.
after a certain particular group of people that always had issues over here in this country, even though this is our country.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. Shout out to DJ Mel Star. I saw he posted a video. He was at the airport and he was kind of explaining about how things are just changing with the process of just, simple thing as going to an airport to get on a flight. He said you have to be prepared now to be waiting hours sometimes on a line, for example. He was explaining how if you can sort of I'm not too sure, but I guess there's a way that you can maybe pre-do things so that when you get to the airport, you can kind of bypass, certain like waiting on lines and everything. And he was explaining that it's a little crazy. You know, it's it, it's wild because we've seen a lot of different things change throughout our life on this earth so far, but the speed at the way things are going now things are changing like from one day to the next. Like the way we were used to doing something, you could wake up tomorrow and it's not the case anymore, like that fast. So, uh, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
weird time that we're in right now.
You know, it's important. It's important to remember things that happened to our people and in society before they are changed. Right? It's things that happen that
Hmm.
in the history books, things are being modified to make it different to change the narrative. Right? But
Right.
I remember 9/11. I remember what the environment was like before and after that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I remember what the environment was like before and after Rodney King or
Hmm.
O.J. Simpson or or a couple of things. Everybody should remember what it was like before and
Hmm.
during and after the pandemic, right? Like before and during the pandemic.
Hmm.
People should not forget that. But you know, when you get comfortable, which is also what happens, you know, it's not until like something else serious comes to really remind you and wake you up, you know?
Right. 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 That makes you stop for a second and and wake up and realize what's going on.
Right.
Uh,
So you know, so like what's happening right now? Because a lot of people shy from even talking about these things because people are afraid of being canceled and losing followers and shit because right because of
repercussions.
but
Yep. Yep.
look, one of my favorite songs of hip hop of all time is Grandmaster Flash and Furious Five. Oh shit, Melly Mel, right? The message,
The message.
the message,
Yeah.
right? The message
Hmm.
is a song that is telling you about what's going on at the time. It's a dope song,
Hmm.
and it's still
Yeah.
collide to today, right? Um, but it's something that makes you take a hard look and like, yo, this is what's happening in our reality, and we need to take a look at it honestly if we're going to deal with any changes, right? And so, for a long time, growing up in this country, I remember I remember being a little boy and like the Olympics was a big deal, and it would be like Olympic athletes on Wheaties boxes. I remember Hulk Hogan and Hulkamania, and I'm a real American, and you know what I'm saying,
Right. Right.
and James Brown,
Yeah.
living in America with the Rocky movies and all this pride about America,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, and GI Joe
Right.
and
Right.
stuff like that, right? A real American hero and all that, right? That's how we was programmed coming up in the world, right? And so
Yep.
it's crazy to be here in a place after seeing all these things that I just mentioned, the pandemic, all this stuff, Rodney King, tons of people being abused, Adam Lewima, all this stuff. And America, that still somehow with all the wicked shit, the history that has been here in this country, that America still somehow found a way to make the world look at it like the police of the world, like the good guys and heroes, like the government over here.
Hmm.
And now we in a place now where the whole
Hmm.
world is like, holy, yo, hold on, y'all not the police, y'all the pirates,
Yep.
you know?
It's crazy, right?
Or, but I think that it's important for all of this to be in the music too, and not just about, some more people think you gotta talk about in order for music to sell. I think music gotta matter in what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's super important. I think a lot of people sometimes tend to talk about that in the sense of when it comes to like radio play, right? And what's being played on the radio, which, to me, that's a whole different topic and story. Like we already know what the deal is with that. Uh, me, I agree with you 100%. I think it's still important. Uh, I think hip hop still has a responsibility to educate. Also, because even if it's not just for us, and when I say us, I mean us that live in the United States, there's tons of kids and people around the world that are super into hip hop and love hip hop and love not just the music but the culture, right, of hip hop.
That's a fact.
So to say that it's not hip hop, that hip hop doesn't have a responsibility anymore, I don't think that's necessarily true. I think it's always been a way for us to communicate what's going on, just like you said with the message. Some of us were living in that time, right, and walking outside and seeing broken glass on the streets and seeing this and seeing that. And it wasn't necessarily until that video and song came out that it was like it made you take a step back and be like, man, I see this every day, but I never really paid attention to it. And now you see this video and this music and you're hearing this and you're like, damn, things are really crazy, huh?
Well,
You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. That like the music that, especially at that era, like the videos or whatnot, they weren't showing that side of life. Everything was a fantastic dream and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think that again, hip hop has influenced the world in a world that we never seen, right? But in the same kind of way, the intelligence and creativity that comes out of the people here is important to recognize, right? Like everybody around the world uses a stoplight, for traffic or whatnot, but that was invented here, right? That was invented here.
Right,
And
right.
it's certain things that are important to recognize. But hip hop is gonna make it so that people in Japan and Nigeria and Germany and Australia, they're gonna learn the latest dance moves or whoever's popping and doing that because that's also a component of the culture that is going to affect how people know how to move, right? It's still regardless of whether you intentionally want to teach about who we are as a people, because that's what hip hop is too. It's just another expression of who people are and what people do. It's like whether you intentional about it, you are doing it.
Mhm.
You teaching people about how you think, about how you talk and how you move, and people elsewhere far away, even if they don't speak the language, they're gonna understand certain components of that and incorporate it. So,
Right, right,
but
right. Yeah, man, oh 07, let's talk a little bit music now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think
Let's
that's
get
a
into
good
some of
idea.
your music. I want to ask you, so going back in some time, right? Back when the mixtapes were out, I was, I mean, just like a lot of us, but I was super heavy into mixtapes, man. I used to go and always want to go and see what new mixtape was out and buy it. And I even sold it at one point in time. I was selling them. But one, there was one DJ that stood out to me. There was a lot of them, but there was one in particular I remember that stood out to me. And I used to get this mixtape. And it was and I still have one. I actually still have one. And I posted not long ago. And I'll tell you why. But this particular DJ was DJ Lazy K, right?
Shout out to the mixtape queen, Lady
Something
K.
about her, yeah, they was so male dominated, you know what I mean, back then. And like her voice and everything kind of cut through all of that noise of all the males DJs that were putting out mixtapes. And I was hooked. And like I said, I still have one of her tapes that I bought back then. And I posted not long ago. But you Dope Mix Volume 294.
Oh,
You're on there.
oh yeah.
Not once, not twice, but three times.
Yo,
You're
lazy,
the only one that's on there
yo,
more than once.
yo, Lazy K is
First of all,
Lazy K is
tell,
dope.
how does that happen? How do you get on that joint not once but more than one time? And what was that about?
Yo, for the record, yo, I want to make it just like publicly known. Yo, I love Lazy K, man. She's so dope, yo. She's really, really a pure hearted and dope person, yo. Um, I
Mhm.
happened to come across Lazy K, um, randomly. I forget who it is that connected us, or it was social media, but um, we ended up doing some business, and and she asked me to come and perform at a show that she was a part of. And it just so happened that the show was in Corona, Queens that she's doing. So I'm like, yo, it's crazy, right? Like this is where I'm from. I can't remember the last time I performed in Corona, Queens. But I'm like, yo, this is to be super dope. And then on top of that, it's like a lot of graph legends that were gonna be there, other people that I knew. So it was a really dope setup. And the first time that we were gonna meet like face to
Okay.
face after, you know what I mean? And so the second that we met, like 'cause we had been talking on the phone for a little bit, and then the moment that we met, it was just like it was just chemistry, we just clicked. She's super super cool, and also somebody that is really about giving artists a platform to shine and to get known. She has a sincere
Mm,
desire to do that. Um, I had a couple of things that I was handling, and Lazy K's been harassing me because she heard some things, and she's like, "Yo, I really felt, yo, cursing is, I want to cursing is I." Anyway, she was like, "Yo,
you
I
all right?
really, I
You all
really
right?
rock with what you do," and so she's like, yo, certain things. She's like, I really rock what you do. So she's like, I want to shoot a video and I want to work with you, and so I had a lot going on. I'm working with a lot of different people, and life is life, and certain things going on with life.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell her like we're gonna have a meeting, but I had a couple of things to take care of. I had to meet up with my brother Topaz, peace to him, um, who helped me pick up like some promotional. He helped me create like some promotional stuff. So I had a couple of runs to make. So I hit her up like, yo, I know we got this.
The graph artist?
Yeah, legendary graph artist. Nas shouted them out
Yeah,
on a new
yeah, yeah.
album or whatnot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
super,
yeah.
super, super
Yeah,
good,
yeah, yeah.
super dope, brother. I'm
Nice.
I'm on his new album too. He has an album that's out and available on all streaming platforms now too. King
Oh, I did
Topaz.
see that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I'm on that. I'm on that. Check for that.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, he's super dope. During the pandemic, he came to my place and did a whole mural for my children in my children's room or whatnot. Like that's family. Yeah.
Nice.
So, you know what I mean. I hit Lazy K, and I'm like, yo, I know we got this meeting, but I got to take care of a couple of things. So she like, yo, if anything, I ride with you. So you know what I'm saying. We just end up, the whole day just running errands and making moves, and then end up sitting down, having a breaking bread together, having a meal, and kind of find out like Lazy K is not what you think, yo. Like what you see on social media publicly and whatnot is one thing, but this woman is brilliant. She's put in her work over the years and needs to be respected and
Mm.
acknowledged for that because she put in a lot of work. You said volume 294, and she's still going. Like she's cranking these things out. Her work ethic is crazy. For one, she speaks like 5 languages. She's, what I'm saying, she's a responsible mother
Mm.
and entrepreneur and has a lot of ill things in the works. So it's me and her got a chance to lock in. She's become my personal DJ. We went and traveled upstate New York and did this really dope this O positive festival. Just so happens, um, it's my blood type, O positive, and so the
Nice.
universal blood type, right?
Right,
And so we end up having to do this
right, right.
festival and open up for Cool Keith and Set G, Ultramagnetic MCs. Shout out to them. Super, super, super good people, dope people.
Nice.
Um, Shout outs to Kasimala and those are the drum dealer who came along and rocked out with me for that as well. And my brother Ceccarelli. Um, Lazy K came with me and did that. I mean, we had an adventure, and that only made us tighter. And so, me and her have a special project on the way right now too. But there
Nice,
you go.
nice, nice. Yeah, that's dope. That's really cool, man. Yeah, she's definitely she's been working hard for a long time, man. Shout out to Lazy K. But yeah, the all three of the joints you got on there are tough. But
Appreciate you.
the freestyle over the out of here beat,
Appreciate you.
I like that one a lot. And the echo joint was a tough, man. And it's funny because I'm listening to it and I'm like, damn, there's another song on here by him, and then there's another one and whatever. And I'm like,
Yo,
She like this. She. There's something she like this
yo,
dude.
she's ill, right?
Yeah.
Because yo, I had to change how I do certain things because of her. Because I sent her a couple of things like, yo, listen, I didn't want her to think I just had her on the back burner with certain things. Because again, I got some surprises for y'all this year. You know what I mean? I've been working with some really dope producers and and putting together some real special projects for y'all this year. So I didn't want her to think some time was passing by. So I'm like, I didn't want you to think I'm just I forgot about you. So I sent her a couple things like, yo, listen, just some raw stuff. Like, yo, look, I'm shipping away some stuff. And the next thing I know, she like put them out. I'm like, holy shit. You know what I mean? But
Nice.
she meant what she said. She really, she got a chance to really hear, a good amount of my music that the public is yet to hear. But she rocks with me and it's my people, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my
Oh
people.
man.
Shout out to
So
Lazy
so
K.
uh so you have a lot of stuff out, you know what I mean, that people could go and check out now. They could check, go to your website, obviously, 07
Yeah,
dot
it's
com, right?
OSVNSPACE 07space.com.
Right? There's stuff on there. They could check out the Bandcamp as well.
Mm-hmm.
Another song I like a lot that you have is "Gave Her Everything."
Yeah. Peace,
You
bro.
you
That's
you don't have a video for that, right?
yo.
Because I was looking for a video.
I'm so
You
glad that you said that because it's gonna be a video for it. That's one of those songs that is one of my favorites
I
because if you listen, you kind of see it all playing out in front of you. You know what I'm saying? Um,
I in my mind as I'm listening to it, man, I see like that old like a '70s theme type of video. You know what I mean? Like a with the old cars, or you know what I'm saying? Like that '70s. I mean, that's just that's the vibe I got from it. But I was like, this would be a dope video. I could just see the whole thing playing out.
a couple
So
people
I'm glad you said that,
Yeah, a
brother.
couple people been asking me about that. That's something I had a lot of fun making, and something that's based on real life events, not mine, but you know what I'm saying,
Okay.
but real life events. Where
Yeah.
Peace to
Nah,
DB Elias Christ
I
and
like that
Apani
one.
B Fly, who are on that track, and Chop Louie from the West Coast who produced that. Super dope people.
Yeah. That's a good song, man. I mean, you have a lot. Everything on here is dope, man. I recommend and suggest everybody to go check it out. Uh, the other one, "Long Live the Cow." That's another. Matter of fact, before you tell me about some new stuff, talk to me about that one.
Yo,
Uh,
it's crazy that you asked about that in particular because when you asked me about something
Mindset.
that I would want to share with you. You know what I'm saying? Like you asked me for a verse, and I'm gonna give you something super exclusive today because um me and the brother that produced that beat, Rod the Blizz, peace to him. Shout out Rod the Blizz. Extraordinary talent that you want to get familiar with if you don't know already too. He produced Long Live the Cow, and we have a remix on the way. I'm gonna give you a
Mm,
sneak peek at. Um, Long Live the Cow is also another important song to kind of show um, the people that rappers have brains and think and got something to say, and with everything that's going on in society right now, like you can't ignore it. It's only been so long that you can ignore it before you know it's serious impacts to your life. And so I haven't eaten meat in 34 years.
mm,
You know,
okay.
that's been a big part of my journey and something that's helped me out in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? It's something that has helped me preserve myself in a certain way, right?
Right.
It's something that has helped me heal myself in a particular way, and it's something that's helped me to open my eyes in a particular way. You a father, E?
Okay. Yes.
All right,
And I don't need meat either. It hasn't been that long, but it's been a little over 15 years
that's
though.
dope. Much respect. Much
Yeah.
respect. And for the
Yeah.
record, for everybody out there that does eat meat, respect to you. You know what I'm saying? I just know that the choice that I made was right for me. And so this is the reason why
Yeah.
I
Same
touch
here.
on it the way I do. Um, the reason why I ask you if you're a father is because, when you're a father, you automatically become a teacher. So, you
Right.
know what I'm
Right.
saying? You got to find ways to make complicated things simple. And so when it comes to that, like I just tell my children and approach it like, yo, look, the human body ain't a cemetery, right? Like when a person or animal dies, you're supposed to put them in the ground, not your mouth. Because otherwise, what you're doing is introducing death to your living, breathing body,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
And you take on pretty much whatever the state that that animal was in when they got killed. That pretty much
it's a lot of
you take that
layers.
on.
It's a lot of layers to
Yeah.
it, yo, that people don't think about,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cause like if you
Mm-hmm.
see a dog or a cat get hit by a car and don't nobody take the body off the street in 24 hours, you start to see maggots and
Mm-hmm.
and the process of decomposition happening. But that same process is happening inside of you when you eating a corpse. That's what it is.
Right.
And
Right.
you could call it whatever you want, but that's what it is.
Right.
So,
Right. Right.
you know, I know a lot of people don't like that, but I tell the truth in what I'm doing. And so long live the cow is a part of that, right? Because people may not know it, but people eating meat that's also cloned. Dolly the sheep was
Yeah.
introduced. I remember being a little boy in class when it was like, hey, guess what? We just cloned the animal. There's a
Just
sheep,
yeah.
Dolly.
That's
That
crazy.
shit was a while ago. You know what I'm saying? That's a
Yeah,
while
I
ago.
can't believe you remember the name. That's
Word. I'll
crazy.
never forget it. It was something else important.
Yeah, yeah. It
Um,
was. It was. No, I mean, it was like a wow moment, man. It was like you would have never thought that we would see something like that happen.
Yo, I got show. Look, we're gonna make this meaningful because we're already here talking about a bunch of important things, right? And so, look, women see blood way more than men do in a lifetime. I got a daughter, so I got to talk to her and be real too, right? And so, for women should be able to see this real easy too. Cause see, like when blood is and it hits the air, like in a short amount of time, it turns from red to brownish, blackish. You know what I'm saying? It's a natural process
Mm-hmm.
that happens due to exposure to oxygen. And so you got to ask yourself when you go shopping for meat in the supermarket, how does that red, how does that blood stay red like that? You know what I'm saying? That's the next thing. There's so many layers, there's so many layers to it, right? Um,
Yeah, yeah,
the printing,
yeah.
they printing meat. I mean, so essentially, it was done. The song "Long Live the Cow" was really done with an intention, and just to get people to think a little bit about what it is that they intake in the unnatural ways that we live in, just to make it so that people could be healthier. You know what I mean? That's really the intention.
Mm-hmm. Right, 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 right. It's a dope song, man.
Appreciate you.
It reminds me. It reminded me of. Oh man, what's the song? I think the title of the song was "What's Beef." Is it "What's Beef" by KRS? I
Yo, what's
believe.
beef? What's beef
I can't remember.
is Notorious Big, Biggie Smalls, and what's beef. At least the what's
No,
beef I'm
no,
thinking
yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah.
I actually got
No, no.
a
I know that song. I'm trying to tell. What the hell was the name of it?
I got a dope sticker. I wish I could show you right now because I made a bunch of
I'm
promo
drawing a.
stuff for that. I'm gonna send you some stuff. I'm gonna send you some promo art so you could tag and I guess put into this when I mean
Yeah, yeah,
whenever
yeah.
you put it up because I did this dope flip of the What's Beef a
The
promo
Biggie Smalls one.
for Long Live the Cow. I did a couple of things I sent to you so that the public the general public ain't seen most of it, but folks that have come out the shows have caught a glimpse.
Yeah, no, the song's called Beef. The KRS One joint that I'm talking about is called Beef.
When did it come out?
It's back from it's from off of the Edutainment album,
Okay. Oh, that's a while back.
and he was like he's like Beef, what a relief, yeah. when will this poisonous product cease? It's if you don't remember that song,
You
man,
gonna
check
make
it
me
out,
look.
because when I was
You
listening
gonna
to
make me look it up.
your song, it reminded not the style or nothing like that, but I'm talking about the content. You know what I mean, and what you're talking about, because that song by KRS was the first time that I like, that I heard somebody speak about what we're talking about as far as meat and everything, was that song. That's the first time that I was just like, oh wow, like I never heard anybody talk about it in that way. I never, you know what I mean? And after that song is what, that's not when I stopped, but that's when I was just like, I have to pay more attention to what's going on. You know what
Yo,
I mean?
peace to
But
peace to
hold on,
KRS.
let me see something. Yeah.
Stress of another. Any drug is addictive by any name.
Yo, that's fire.
That's
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 fire.
that's just that's just part of it. That you got to listen to the
I'm about
song.
yo. You don't even know. Listen, I got a couple of things that I play for my children that are along this vein, right? Because you got "Be Healthy" by Dead Prez and Prodigy, right?
That
Right.
press. Yeah, 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 yeah.
You got Mac Hami, who came out with Self Love. Big songs, yo. Big songs, like, you know what I'm saying, for
Yeah,
you to know and to be driving to or whatnot. So that's gonna get
yeah,
added to
yeah.
the
Yo,
playlist.
that whole entertainment album is crazy. But like that song, when I heard him with that song, I was just like, because think about, you don't, again, right? We go back. Does hip hop have a responsibility to educate? That's the song that made me think and be like, damn, that's true. Like, you can't, if you been eating meat, let's say, or even drinking soda, let's say, the caffeine, all of that, and you want to stop, it's not easy. It's not that easy. It's the same struggle that people have to put down cigarettes or any other type of thing. It's the same struggle
That's a
they
fact.
have to stop eating certain type of food, and it's
Excuse me.
crazy.
Yo, look, if one person has that, can say what you just said, because they heard what I did and heard "Long Live the Cow" and it had that effect. If even just one person, I'm
Right,
good
right,
with that. That's satisfying. I done did my job. You know what I mean?
right,
And
right. That's so
that's
dope.
part
Yeah,
of it.
that's so dope.
Word.
That's dope. Yeah, I'm telling. Listen, but you see what I mean? Like, for me to listen to that song, and I'm like, yo, this is dope. And it's a continuation. It's the lineage. You know what I mean? Like, without you even knowing, it's just, it comes from that. You know what I mean? And you're continuing that. So, shout out to you, man. Great job on everything you're doing. And but talk to me now about, what do you have? Anything that you could talk to us about that's new, that's coming out soon? Any work in the any projects coming out soon? Albums, features. What do you got going on?
So yeah, man. First of all, again, it's an honor to be here with you. You know what I mean, I'm only sharing how I'm living and sharing this culture. You know what I mean, and and using my words and my actions to do that, and sharing is with each other is free. You know what I mean? That's you know what I mean. It's this is just good equality, and me being able to share what I know, what I've experienced, with people through my music. I got some really dope features. I got some dope stuff on the way for y'all. I got the project with Lazy K on the way. It's called 777. This is the first time I
Nice.
spoke it and you know what I mean, or announced it like this here. But it's on the way. Y'all gonna start seeing some visuals for that and some other things soon. I don't wanna tell you exactly. I don't want to give you the date just yet, but stay tuned for that.
Yeah, yeah.
I got a album, a full length album called From the Core. I've been giving pieces to y'all for that. Gave her everything is on that project. So is
Nice.
Forever, which is another single I put out. That's exclusive on my site for right now, on 07space.com. But it's gonna be on
Okay.
all streaming platforms shortly. That album is real special, and it's called From the Core for a reason. It's dealing with a lot of personal and um, intimate uh, topics, and also giving people a side of me that they don't really see often. I got
Okay.
I got a dope single that's out right now. I got this the single for the project with me and Lazy K 777 Queens bitch, which is Queens biggest in the city. You heard? I mean that's out on my site as well too. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Queens, shout out to everybody in Queens, shout out to the whole New York City, and in particular including LI because people often forget about LI. But Queens, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's where I'm at.
Word. Shout out to LI, yo. I'm on a dope project with some really dope Long Island. Matter of fact, yeah, people often forget Long Island, so I'm gonna just put a spotlight on Long Island right now. Shout outs to Snooze Daily. I'm on his project right now. That's out right now called Shock the World.
Okay.
I'm on two songs on that project, so you definitely want to go check that out. It's fire too. I'm on a
Okay.
project coming out with my brother K Song Skrilla, who's got a couple things on the works in the works right now. Um, I'm on a song that's out right now called Smoking Gun with a super ill Long Island MC who's back after 14 years in the military. His name is LJ Lewis, and it's called Smoking Gun. It's out on all streaming platforms right now. The video will probably be out this week for it. That's out right now. That's somebody else from Long Island. I got some stuff with my brother Bear Essentials. He's another Long Island MC. That's coming out.
Okay.
We got some dope collaborations on the way. I have some really dope work on the way. Shout outs to my brother, my cousin, um, Amadeus Music out in London. Peace to SMG Music out in South Africa. Peace to Digger the Digger out in France and King Flow out in France. I got some special projects on the way with them. My brother B True, upstate New York. I got a special project with him. True Cipher, some dope producers. I got some really dope projects on the way. Stay tuned this year. Is this? I know I've been kind of quiet and there's like features that y'all been getting over the last couple, but it's only because I've been putting bullets in the gun and dealing with life. Shout outs to K Burns. I got a really dope I'm on his project that drops April 20th.
Okay.
It's called Before I Met the Plug, I think. But I got a song on there with him. Y'all gonna bug out when y'all hear that. Shout outs to him. Um,
Okay.
there's a lot. I got some stuff on the way with Those Are the Drum Dealer, who's by far one of my favorite creators out on the scene right now, and a real special artist that y'all should definitely get familiar with too. I got some work on the way with Reno RX, who's also another phenomenal creator that y'all want to get familiar with as well. And a lot on the way. Aida the Alligator.
Busy. Hey.
I got a single on the way with her that's off the project from the core. Aida the Alligator, who's a female MC, stellar MC like no other. You want to get familiar with her as well. But there's a lot on the way.
What's her name?
Her name is Aida the Alligator. Alfred the Alligator.
Oh, Aida.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. But yeah, from the core,
You staying busy, man.
oh yeah, from the core's on the way. That's gonna be out pretty soon. 777's on the way. Um I got a project with Aton Noise, who's a really dope producer out of Brooklyn. Um I said a lot already. I said a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, 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 yeah. Nah, you're busy. You're busy. So we got a lot of stuff to look forward to coming from '07. And once again, everybody make sure you go and check out his website, 07space.com, and follow on Instagram. What's your Instagram?
yeah, it's underscore, it's at underscore OSVN underscore. And
Is
again,
that the best way to follow his
yeah,
Instagram?
you
Or
know, I'm on other social media sparingly. I'm on Facebook and TikTok and stuff randomly here and there, but IG is probably the best place you're gonna reach me if you look up for me on social media. If you go to my website, which is again OSVNSPACE.com, O7space.com, is like these widgets at the bottom that'll connect you to all the social media that I'm at anyway. So, tap in with me there. There's tons of ill merch, including some of the stuff that you see me wearing right now. I got some
I was just gonna say you got
yeah,
the
yeah,
merch.
yeah. I got some. The back of this is super intricate too. What I did is I created something special for every element of the culture. Is specific merch to for the hip hop lover, the people that are the actual listeners and lovers of the music. It's something for the producers, something for the DJs, something for the MC, the graph artist, the breaker. Real intentional artwork. This right here
Right.
is a mashup between me that me and my brother Doza came up with for the song that we got called Be More. This says more in
Mm.
Creole, and he has one that's available on his site, which says más in Spanish for more. So make sure you tap in there as well.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Word,
Nice. Nice.
word.
Oh, that's a dope concept. I like that. No doubt, man. Uh, so to close out, if you could do me a favor,
Talk to me.
uh, if there's if you had to pick a verse from any of your songs that best describes '07 or a representation of '07, uh, could you recite a little bit of that verse?
So yeah, uh, I had this verse that I guess is like the first thing that I think of. Um, when I gotta spit something off the top because it's because of how I created it and a particular space it occupied in my life. The fact that when I created it, certain things were happening and I could spit it now, and it still has the same kind of effect. But I wanted to share something with you and give
Yes.
you something exclusive tonight, if I may.
Thank you. Of course. Of course. Thank you, man.
So I said, things have gotten way out of control. People ain't got an inkling about what they being sold. Human DNA being packaged and stored for unsuspecting victims to heat up on their stoves. Every year, they disappearing people in droves, 460,000 children in the U.S. alone. What do you do with all the bodies and bones? Organ harvesting, such stem cells, clones. Nothing seems too far-fetched. If it ain't something you grew yourself, I had to catch. It's a good thing it's been tampered with. A safe bet. Everything sitting on your plate leads to death. Can't trust the FDA reps. Timeline we living in is Orwellian, Mephistophelian. Reptilians want to depopulate the earth of its civilians by the millions, and that's something I'm working on for the remix along with the cat.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's dope. Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Man, no, of course, man. '07. Once again, man, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be able to have this conversation with you, man. And hopefully we get to do it again once you have some of those other projects that you have coming out. You know what I mean? We'll talk more in depth about those projects in particular. I wanted to have a chance to sit down with you and get to know a little bit more about who you were as a person. I always say, uh, we didn't necessarily have the privilege to know some of our favorite artists back in the days when, we just had the music
Hmm.
and then we had to envision what we thought they, how they were until then videos started coming out. Then we had another glimpse. We were lucky if maybe we had a little write up in a magazine about our favorite artists. So I just feel that in this day and age, since we do have an opportunity, uh, I think it's cool. I think it helps people understand, they listen to the music and they get to know a little bit about the person. It kind of makes it all come together and make more sense. You know what I mean? As opposed to just coming up with your own ideas and conclusions. So thank you for allowing me to do that with you tonight. And much success to you, man, and keep doing what you're doing, man, because you've been putting in a lot of work and you still are. Your journey's been a long one. So nothing but greatness could come your way, man.
Listen, I want to say thank you again for giving me the platform, the moment, and time. I look forward to the next time, and I'm real intentional with everything that I do, including how I said what I said to you tonight. In the future, maybe we could go a little deeper into some of the things that we touched on earlier.
Of
You know what I
course.
mean? And I have a lot more for you to cover. I mean, but much love
Yeah,
and
yeah,
respect to
yeah,
you. Thank you again for having me. And shout out to everybody that's out there listening, that's out there supporting, that's watching, that's sharing content, that's reaching out and providing feedback. Everybody that's buying merchandise, because all of that helps to keep all of this going. Know that I'm grateful I had a chance to tell y'all, like, I really appreciate every single one of y'all that's out there listening and support. Word.
Don't forget, once again, osvn7space.com. Make sure you go and hit up the website, check out the music, buy the merch, support, because that's how he's able to keep doing what he's doing, even though he would do it for free, but it doesn't hurt to help him support what he's doing as well. Once again, everybody, thank you for tuning in. This has been Enswei73 TV. I'm your host, Uncle E. That is the greatest artist over there named 07. Make sure to check out this episode. Hit a like, hit the subscribe, leave us a comment, whether good or bad. We appreciate you taking the time to do so. Until the next time, peace.
Enswei TV. Peace.